Hi, and welcome to In the Mix. I'm Luke Ryan, the aspiring bartender. On today's show, we have Chris Brogan, one of the world's top social media experts and New York Times best-selling author. And I'm going to be making up one of my favorite cocktails, the Sidecar. So let's get shaken. Okay, so let's get to it. So for this drink, we're going to have three main steps. We're going to sugar rim the glass here in step number one with a lemon wedge. A nice little rim on the end there. And then a little swirl there in the sugar. And then we're going to put that in our freezer. Usually you want to try to do this, I don't know, I'd say 15-20 minutes ahead of time. And then we're going to make our garnish. So I'm going to take an orange. And for this part here, we're just going to wind all the way around the fruit here. That's going to give us some nice oils when we spin it over the cocktail and drop it right in there at the end. All right, that's pretty good. Now on to making the drink. You're going to take your mixing glass. You're going to put 1 full ounce of fresh squeezed lemon juice in there. The average lemon will probably yield you 1.5 ounces, roughly, of fresh squeezed lemon juice. So usually it's about 2/3 of a lemon. There we go. And drop that right inside here, along with our Cointreau and our cognac with 1 1/4 ounces each. Perfect. There. And then you want to add ice to your mixing tin here. That should be good. Pour your drink right in. Slap. You're gonna give it a nice hard shake. Good. Right up. Okay, then you take your Hawthorne strainer, drop right over the mixing tin here. Grab your nice frozen coupe glass from the freezer. Nice pour. Perfect. Now you're gonna take your nice orange twist garnish. Stretch it out a little bit, get the nice oils in there. Drop it right in the glass. And there you have the classic Sidecar. That's pretty good. Well, we have our sidecars here and Chris Brogan. Thanks so much for coming, Chris.
I'm so happy to be here.
Absolutely. Well, can you tell us a little about yourself?
Sure. My name is Chris Brogan. I run a company called Human Business Works, which is a company that deals with growing capabilities for small businesses through online education and media. I write books. I've written a book called Trust Agents with Julian Smith, which is about how to be human at a distance on the web. I wrote a book called Social Media 101. I write a blog called chrisbrogan.com, which is in Advertising Age's top 5 marketing and advertising blogs for what it's worth.
Absolutely. Excellent. Very good. And can you tell me a little bit about kind of your vision, your life goals, where you're looking to take your business and your future?
Well, sure. The idea behind Human Business Works is pretty much where my goals are right now, is how to teach small business people to build sustainable relationship-minded business. I think that there's a lot of opportunity for people who really understand the face-to-face environment, how to do a little bit more with it on the web, and then how to bring more business back into their lives. But how to do it in a way that you get home in time for dinner? How do you do it in a way that you can sort of survive your own lifestyle?
I was going to say that actually was going to be a question of mine for a little bit later, but unplugging, how do you do it? I know that you're someone who's got almost 200,000 Twitter followers. You know, you're very well connected with your whole community out there. But shutting down, getting back to your family, how do you unplug?
So I'm getting twitchy just thinking about that answer.
Yeah.
I would say that the way I've unplugged is, I mean, I do spend a lot of time at home when I can, and I travel quite a bit as well, but when I'm home, I'm very home. I put down the electronics, keep the screens off, and I think the way to do that is you really spend a lot of your effort trying to work on what's most important for your business. I think what we tend to do as, you know, when we're in a job is we're sort of just working on all the different tasks that are around us, and I just have a really hard line on making sure I'm doing what's going to really move things forward. And the more I can try to say no to things that won't, the more that'll help me out.
Sure, absolutely. Can you walk me through a couple of the steps that you took early on in developing your own personal brand? You know, I know some people say, oh, the overnight success angle, but there were a systematic, you know, plan that you put into place to develop your following, develop your blogging.
Well, sure. So I started blogging way back in '98 when it was called journaling, and nobody was reading. I mean, it took me 8 years to get my first 100 readers, and I always tell people that because they look and see my numbers and they're like, "Wow, well, you're about the size of a magazine.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have a bigger circulation than a lot of local newspapers." But it's not like I started that way. It's not like I just turned on a light and someone tapped my shoulder and said, "Congratulations, here's your audience." There's a book called "It's Your Ship" by I think it's Michael Abrashoff, who was a naval commander, and what he said was, if you think of your business as running a ship, it's an easier way to visualize all the things you should do and decide how you want to build your systems. I have, with my efforts to keep separating myself, what I keep doing is saying, what's a crazy project that I can try and fail at? And for every 8 or 9 failures, I'll have one success, and someone will go, "Wow, look at that guy! He's everything just comes to him so easy."
Yeah.
And so the other big element is fail a whole heck of a lot, because if you're trying and labbing and making more things happen, you'll get to success a lot faster than reading about other people doing it.
Sure, absolutely. And what about people that you admire? Who were your mentors? Who did you look up to when you were starting to build your own personal brand?
That's interesting. It's all very accidental, but I would say, sort of in retrospect, when I read Business Strip Bare by Richard Branson, I found that there was a lot he and I agreed upon. And I like the idea of, can we really shake up a space? Can we do something really intrusive in a space in a good way? And can we just bring this passion for what we're doing across different things? So what I've tried to do, I guess if there was one branding element in me, it's just be helpful. And
absolutely.
People who know me say, "Oh, he's the kind of guy who's really always there with that idea.
Yeah.
He's always somebody who's introducing me or connecting me to somebody else." And I guess that's what I aim to keep doing. But that's about as far as the extent of my thinking about my brand goes, except to say that I try really hard not to conduct myself in a way that would be unbecoming of an officer.
Yeah, and what about as far as the new breakthroughs that you've seen? What are the things that we should be on the lookout for in the social media world that are the big up and comers?
Well, that's interesting. So I would say that one thing I'm seeing is that a lot of people are falling away from using blogging, and to me they're just living on the social networks. So they're investing a lot of time in Facebook, they're investing a lot of time in Twitter, they're spending their
just
time
to tell their friends over and over.
Yeah, visiting places. But that's like renting a hotel room and setting it up as if it's your bedroom. It's clearly not going to be your space forever, and you have to get out. I think that if I were to tell people what to look at for this year, I'll use advice that Jeff Pulver gave me when he hired me at the end of '06. You live or die by your database. So I would be building an email list no matter what. People keep saying email is dead. Groupon is a company that's based on email marketing, and they turned down a $6 billion offer. I'm going to go with email's not dead.
Absolutely. What about as far as, I think it's almost pretty interesting when you're trying to put yourself out there for the first time. I'm somebody that I like to tell everything about my life to all my friends, but putting it out there on the web for the average stranger, and then having a Twitter hooked up and having your real life out there.
It's an interesting thing to have, and it's so think of it as sort of like micro fame or something like that. And there are those rare occasions. I was in Disney a month or 2 ago, I can't remember when, around Halloween time. And I was with my family and we're walking along, and this guy kind of comes all the way across diagonally and goes, "I'm really sorry to interrupt you. Are you Chris Brogan?" I said, "Oh my gosh, yeah, I am. But wow, at Disney." And so that part, you get that sort of bigger head feeling for a second, but then you do feel that sort of, wow, everyone is probably watching. Just like somebody the other day got all crazy because I take photos of my children and put them on the web, and they said, "You use their real first names?" I said, I get it. I know that there's a potential that some child person will come and take my Flickr photo stream and find my child from it, but I'm going to go with not so likely. I'm just going to go with old-fashioned evil motives are always going to be evil motives, and that the tech isn't going to make it better or worse.
Or you can always just film in the backseat of your car if they come back from the dentist too. That's one way to do it. They're all drugged up.
I'm friends with him, David after dentist, and he's had some really strange offers since that. He said people want to drug him up and film him for a while.
Oh, really?
That would be like, and he fields some interesting offers.
Absolutely, yeah. So basically, thank you very much, Chris. I think it's been really well. How can people reach you?
Well, Luke, after I finish this drink, they can reach me at chrisbrogan.com, and that's chrisbrogan.com is kind of the hub for everything I do. So if you get into the cult of me, that's I guess where you start.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Awesome.
Cheers.
Cheers.
That was awesome.
Wow.
Not bad, right?
It's great.
Very cool.
Well, thanks very much, Chris. You're a real pro and you've helped us all out so much. Here's the recipe for the sidecar again. I'm Luke Ryan, and thanks for being in the mix. Cheers.